always on time.
We on YouTube, but we was on the internet for a minute.
We late for those people.
Yeah, we late for them people.
Right.
But yeah, I figured we might as well just go ahead and do a show before somebody get here. But you were talking about reparations and being on with Severe Bay.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like the topic of the conversation was simply, should black people get reparations, or are they due reparations, or however you want. I'm paraphrasing right now. I can't really remember the topic of the topic of the live, like the actual title. It was more or less so clickbait, but it was to engage the conversation. But I mean, like the gist of it was, well, not me. I was about to put myself in it because I was in the chat, but it was just trying to see like how many people really understood what was going on, and it was amazing the amount of ignorance in the chat. And I'm not saying ignorance as in, like stupid, you know what I mean? Because ignorance really means you don't know, right? But the amount of ignorance that was in the chat, and then the hubris that went along with it, the pride and the ego. So, like that became a discussion, and, we're going back and forth in the comments, but it just simply is, at the time that the foreigners invaded America, we were not called black people. Okay, if anything, we was called Negro, and that was because the Moorish invaders was really who we call the Spaniards, right? That's what they would have deemed us, Negroes.
Oh gosh. Okay, so.
But not black.
You done?
I don't know.
Because we were just busting up. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
But what happened was, the reason why I said George Floyd, because I didn't want to forget.
George Floyd. Okay.
I didn't want to forget because, there are a lot of states that are making statues of George Floyd. Now, again, I'm not making him a martyr. I'm not saying he's a hero. I get the statues are for people who have done some positive works within. Okay, so what happened was, the reason why I said this is because, I know a lot of George Floyd's family. So, there was a Harriet Tubman Award in Alabama that was given away. And two of the people that I know personally were getting an award. One of them, George Floyd's uncle. And who was there? Judge Joe Brown.
Oh, really?
So what I found interesting was Judge Joe Brown had done an interview, and he spoke about George Floyd. So the lady he did the interview with, when it got to the part about him dying and how he died, was more humorous. Now, I'm not saying this.
You mean humorous?
Oh, yeah, like humorous, like funny.
I just wanted to catch the movie.
Laughing, me happy. Well, no, I won't say.
But
let me take it back. But what happened was, as Joe was speaking, the interviewer, she laughed, and I wanted to reach through the phone, and I can say that honestly, and slap her. When she laughed at that, he died, and she laughed, and it was humorous. That wasn't funny. It wasn't funny that Judge Joe Brown, made humor of it. I say this because he was in the same presence of George Floyd's uncle. I even made a comment on the post, that YouTube post. I just would love to have been to that award. I wasn't able to go, but I would have loved to have been there and hear that conversation sitting alongside George Floyd's uncle. I was just curious to know if he would have raised the bar and bellowed about that in front of this man, that, hey, he didn't deserve that statue. Okay, he didn't deserve it. But the laughing part of, how he died because he was on drugs. And that's not a black, that's a black man's drug. And he was such a...
Oh, I didn't see this.
And he was a fool, and but you sat alongside of the family man. Or how about just, you were in the same room, presence with this man. So knowing that was his uncle, did you high five? Did you shake his hand? Did you take a picture with him? Did y'all exchange information? I'm just curious how that conference. I did. I put it on YouTube. I went into the girl's post.
That's deep.
And then on top of that, one of the things that he elaborated on was Juneteenth. we're fools for celebrating Juneteenth because we were slaves 3 years prior. Because it was 3 years prior that it was already passed. No, I'm sorry, it was a year that went through the system, and then it was 2 years. Somebody had told, and by the time they got to us, so it was like, it's an embarrassment on us because we knew and we went out before the war and we didn't tell, and by the time it got to us, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give you that one. But we're talking George. Now these are two separate interviews, two different times. I'll go find it for you.
Right.
But it was interesting, and that's why I put it on my page.
Okay. Well, I didn't be on Facebook today, but like not too much on thing. But that whole the George Floyd incident, that's really crazy. I don't know if I have anything to say on that. I mean, because like I would really have to hear what he said, and I would have to see what was said. I mean, like I take your word for it that it probably wasn't, the best time to, have that type of conversation or laugh or whatever, anything like that. But I would have to actually hear what was said before I pass it just on that actual conversation. But
No. Go ahead, keep talking.
I don't agree with the statue stuff. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The Juneteenth stuff, I'm with him for on that, except for his reasoning behind it. Juneteenth, I mean, like, people think that all these wars are different wars, and it's not. It's the same continuous war that they have been fighting since they got to this land. You understand? And just because they break it up and give different sections or different segments of this same war, different names, people think that, like the American Revolution, the Civil War, and the Indian Wars, and the 300 Years Wars, and all this other different stuff. No, it's the same freaking war. So Juneteenth is crazy because our people were never free. Judge Bill Brown knew that too, because he's a judge.
Yeah.
But he'll never say that.
Say what?
That our people aren't free.
Did he say that?
I can't remember. If he's a judge, he knows.
Yeah, because he gave her the street. She was like, I didn't know.
He's very good at giving you some truths, but he still stays true. We don't have to watch that.
Yeah.
I don't want to take up time watching Judge Bill, but like he knows the truth though.
Yeah.
Because he sat on the bench and practiced colorable law.
Yeah.
Yeah, the statue stuff, man. I just don't get it. I don't understand what's the. And I seen the one that was in Newark, New Jersey.
That's the one. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like,
wow.
what is going on here? You know what I mean? Because like,
no disrespect.
You got people screaming black. No, it's not about George Floyd at all.
Well, I'm saying no disrespect to the family,
right,
but I gotta be. Here's what I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna have. I'm not gonna be a little tippy toeing on because of George Floyd's family because I know them. But then, I'll meet Floyd George's family and I'll go all out,
right.
Because I know you, now I'm supposed to like teeter-totter around it. No, that's not, I'm going to be fair and open and honest. I heard a lot about George Floyd. I heard a lot about his background and stuff.
But that doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Like,
but the thing is, how he died should not.
That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah. So now we're making a statue out of it because we already have a law that y'all trying to implement, but now you want to.
What is the statue about? That's what I don't understand. What is the statue about? Because, like you said, right? You don't want to tiptoe around it. Like his past doesn't concern me.
Right.
Because I didn't know him personally, right? How he was murdered is the issue.
Right.
So when people want to drag his past into it and all this other stuff right there, that's when it gets murky and that's when it starts getting dangerous and people not. So for the way that he was killed, that's the issue that we need to address. The statue part, I don't understand because where does that come from?
Yeah.
Here we are. This is why I say this is not about George Floyd personally for me. You got people screaming Black Lives Matter, right?
No, that's enough.
I'm just saying, but I'm not saying I agree with it. In fact, I don't support it. None of that. Like, BLM to me stands for Bureau of Land Management, right, Morris? But you got people out here that's screaming that, right? And and they can't get any relief, right? We just seen what anti-Asian or anti-hate bill passed for Asians almost instantaneously.
Yeah, almost.
And you telling me that the same people that's out here screaming in the street, stop killing us, that our lives matter, they can't get the same type of protection, but they'll give a statue of George Floyd and they'll put it in Newark, New Jersey, not in the place where it happened. It's on the East Coast. That's crazy to me. So like, I really want to understand what was the purpose of the statue, but then again, you look at the thing, all you have to do is appease black people.
Yeah. So was the
Give them a bone. Juneteenth was a bone.
I did make a comment about that. You know, like we didn't even ask for Juneteenth. The things that we asked for, y'all won't even give it.
Look what people did.
You know,
Oh, yes, we got. They had like the chicken sandwich came back. You know what I mean? For real.
Like you really did something for us, and I mean, I thank you.
They don't understand the significance of it though, because it's really a false history. If you really break down Juneteenth and the people, y'all would like.
And it wasn't even a 19th.
No, but if you.
And it wasn't June, but it's okay. You know, I get it. Okay, you gave us something. No. Here's my thing. See, we've become so accustomed to celebrating 4th of July. My next question is, all of those who celebrated Juneteenth, how many of y'all are going to be out there for 4th of July?
Here's the question though, right? 4th of July was what year? That the celebration, 1776. It wasn't even free. Because if you do the math from the time slavery started to the time they started calling you black, 1774, they took the nationality from the people, to 1865, guess what? You celebrating a holiday where your people were still slaves anyway. So, if that's what you think.
Yeah.
You understand? It's like, and if we get to the 1776 stuff, like that stuff is not even real, though.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother time.
It's a whole nother topic.
It's a whole nother time. I mean,
but and I get it because.
But you're right.
But we've never
we'll celebrate
learned.
Anything that somebody gives us.
We've never learned. They've never taught us. And then the interesting part is when someone like you, and I'm gonna use you since you're already here, comes out and start telling us, we're like, whoa, what the heck? Whoa, no, that. Where'd you get that information from?
Exactly.
Who told you that
That's
lie?
a great question.
No, wait a minute.
That's the best question
not
you can ask.
Because I was taught in school, and I was got to get people to understand there's a difference between school and class. But I was taught because my teachers, and then it goes back to something you said. Well, who are our teachers? The people who weren't my color, telling me about the people who were their color.
Look, see how that's the people who weren't my color.
Yeah.
That's the colonized mindset. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you because you recognize and you can see it, but because we've been programmed and miseducated to believe color is real, it seeps out. It's just like I could be talking to my friends and I generally try to stop using nigga, you know what I'm saying? But it'll pop out. And I'll consciously recognize that I use that word, right? And I'll dial it back. So like that's just the way of me training myself to not say that word.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially out of context in a group of people that might not know what I'm talking about, understand who I'm talking to. You know, and I think that's another issue too. But you know, you got that question: where did you get this information from?
Right.
That's the question you need to ask. Don't say no, it's wrong. You know, I was the same person. I was the same way. When somebody tried to tell me I wasn't black, man, you crazy. What are you talking about? This is all that I ever knew.
Right.
Right? And then, you know, you find the right information. You find the right books.
That's not it.
You find the right people. And you start putting it together for yourself. Then you start to see. And then you start living your truth. You'll see how the world operates. So, I mean, it's a personal journey. But, like, our people, like, they'll celebrate anything that was given to us because we haven't had a lot.
Yeah.
They celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
I'm not gonna lie, I did Flag Day. You know, Red, white, and blue day.
Thanksgiving. That was
tie
about
your
killing the
shoelace
people.
day. Christmas Day, New Year's Day. Like we, like
They celebrate every holiday.
And it tickles me how they literally have a President's Day, and then you have a separate George Washington Day. Like, what the heck? Wasn't he a president? So why do we need him to have a separate holiday when it shouldn't just be? But and it, yeah.
He wasn't the first.
Yeah,
But yeah, that right?
But
the first president of all that his name was John Hanson. He was a Moor. John Hanson.
Short-lived, right?
Short-lived. Well, this is back before it was the United States.
Yeah.
So this is prior to George Washington. There was about 6, 7, or 8.
It's okay. But you know what? But what I found interesting is that we had a black president.
You had a Moorish president before you had.
Well, we had more, but the thing was, because I'm trying to follow history. When they said we were slaves, it was like, who was going to listen to us?
Us. You understand? Okay, so let me give you a picture.
Because if you're the president of,
right,
then I'm like, well, how are you? Because
this.
you know.
Think about, okay, so if it was a black president, right? If you're saying it's a black president, I'm telling you John Hanson was a Moor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This was a Moor, right? Matter of fact, it was the reason the United States got back on its feet after the war, because he figured out how to pay soldiers, this, that, and the third. You see what I'm saying? Like, he was a Moor. But this was our land, right? This was us. Think about this. When the quote-unquote Spanish came over here in the 15th century, right? They started fighting us, people that look like me and you, right? That went on for some years, right? Then you get to what 1619, they start talking about the Indian Wars. Well, those Indians were you. They just reclassified you into something else. You understand? And then later on, you became colored and Negro and black, but these are the same people, right? So when you say who was going to listen to a black, it was going to be black people, if that's the terminology that we're using. It was going to be the same people that look like him because we were here. It wasn't them. And I think the school system or the miseducation system does a great job of coloring the history to the point where you would think that these so-called Albion, or not so-called Albion, but the Albion Europeans were actually the people here in America, you know, and then just some of their cousins came over. Nah, they all came over. They weren't here, you know. So people got to start looking at history in the context of it was your people that was here prior, you know, and not their people. You want to do an interesting experiment. And this is for anybody listening that lives in the proximity of Ocean City, Maryland, right? Drive through Delaware, through Dewey and Bethany, South Bethany, Fenwick, and all that, and drive into Ocean City. Drive all the streets, all the way down into the inlet, right? And when you get to the inlet, turn around and drive all the way back out. And when you do that, think about this. 300, 400, 500 years ago, you would have seen nothing but quote-unquote black people out there. There would have been no buildings, no hotels, and all that stuff. You might have had structures, but it wouldn't look how it looks now, right? You would have seen nothing but your people on the beach. Your people would have been living out there, right? Anywhere that you went, you would have seen your people. If anybody is go to Delaware Code, Title 29. It'll talk about the Moors in Delaware's code. Even how they used to have an M on their driver's license to designate them as a different classification of people. So even in Delaware has a rich, or what they call Delaware, has a rich Moorish history. As a matter of fact, can I say something about that? Like,
Nope.
Yeah, no, for real. Because like this is what they did. They came over here and they started renaming our land. Right?
No, matter of fact, let me say that. Thieveries. So I got
Thievery, right.
No, I'm saying it so I can remember to go back to thievery.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
But they came over here and they renamed the land, right? This is our land, so we should just start renaming it back. So I'm no longer going to call Delaware. Today, I was sitting with my cousin before I came over here, and I was like, you know what? It's going to be called New Moreland. New Moreland. So like Delaware is New Moreland to me. That's what, and like if get our people to say, man, you know what, this is our land.
Yeah.
Let's start naming our stuff, man.
Yeah.
Get rid of, like, be who we are.
Yeah.
Like, all the stuff that we face, it'll start dissipating till eventually it'll disappear. And then once we become a nation of people, or we come back up under the nation of people that we was when we fell, then we can rise, right? And then those nations that did, harm to us, then they can pay reparations.
Okay.
Right? Then they can start to repair the nations that they injured. But the reason that quote unquote black people can't get reparations is because black people are not a nation. They don't have a flag. They don't have a constitution. They don't have a seat in the UN. They got little placebo positions in, like, judges and Congress and lawyers, but they really don't have any political power, because if they did, wouldn't black people have more protection than they have today? They can't even get an anti-hate bill passed with all the quote unquote black people they got in all these different positions right now. And you tell me black power really is something? I don't get it. I don't get it. So, people gotta wake up, smell the coffee.
Now, thievery.
Thievery.
I say that because I was watching the video. Yeah. I was watching the number. I was watching the number.
That's it.
I was watching the Instagram. Did I do it?
The number.
Yeah, I did post it. Yeah.
Did you post the right number?
I don't know. I did. I hope so.
I think you put it backwards.
Oh my gosh.
Look at it.
Oh
Then you
gosh.
put it backwards. I'm not really sure. I'm sorry, y'all.
He's having technical difficulties.
No, I'm not having technical difficulties.
I was watching a video, and and on the in the video there was a white lady, and she made Amion Moore, and she made a comment about Juneteenth. She was sick of it. She was just sick of it.
This a 9-year-old?
No, this is a grown woman. So what happened was, this guy found it. He put it on his page, and after he showed that part, just that clip, he stopped it, and now he went into his thing was, wait a minute, we've already had it for a week. What are you tired of? So he said he did some research. In the mind, he's pointing at her video, and he did some research. And what he didn't like was these people who are these Amion Moors who are blatantly open about racism. Like, I don't like, European. Yeah, Amion European. I'm sorry. He does not like how, they always talking about black this, black that, black this, black that, trying to put his thing. So he did some research. Found out, okay, this chick is dancing to our music. I mean, you don't like us, but you dancing to our music, wearing the clothes, the hair, and all that, and then found out she was dating. I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute.
Probably why she's sick of it. She got hair.
But she gets up here, she's like, I'm tired of this, Juneteenth, and found out that, wait a minute. So his thing was, wait, how are you tired of something that y'all been doing for years? Y'all done stole our identity, you stole our culture, you stole our music, you steal everything about us, and then you say you don't like us. But you take everything that's ours, you make it yours, or at least you try to make everybody think that it's yours, and that doesn't make sense.
Because
and I'm
the
like,
culture, it does make sense.
Well, it does.
To somebody that actually
is doing it.
No.
And then one of his things was that how he said is that, wait a minute, and then you stole land. So you're a thief. You stole land, and then you.
They stole?
Well,
no. Look, seriously. Think about that question. What haven't they stolen? You gotta realize they came from a position where they had nothing in life. Our people ran the planet, hands down, everywhere you went, and we controlled them. So that's a part of the history that a lot of people don't like to expose. We treated them very badly too. Okay? But here's the thing, right? Everything that they got from us. Where do you think their wealth came from?
Us.
When they overdo it, right?
Us.
Where do you think it still comes from?
Us. It was interesting how, I had
we buy like $1 billion in Hennessy a year or something like it's something really ridiculous.
But it was interesting to hear that
Like super.
years, that it was always under the impression or given to us the impression that Africa was poor.
Mm-hmm.
And they're poor people, and then when they show commercials, it's always the poor section, just like Philadelphia, just like Jersey, every place else, but they always show the poor part when there actually is a rich part, full of...
A lot of Africa is very wealthy.
Yeah, but they don't show, so they portray it as, and when you only show the dumpsters, the trash cans, the animals, and of course my mindset is, oh my gosh, they're so...
Why do you think they do that? Think about that. They show you the poorest parts of Africa, right? But they tell you that's where you're from.
Mm-hmm.
You got what looks like to be better over here than if you was to go back to where you supposedly came from, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they don't really want you to go back over there.
No, after
You know
you
why?
show me
No, it's not because of what they showed you, right? Well, yeah, that too, because that's part of the propaganda.
Yeah.
But the whole purpose is, without you here, they can't exist because the whole system is built off of quote unquote the credit of black people or colored people. That's anybody that's white and black, because everybody that doesn't have this status correctly is considered chattel, human capital, right? So they don't want the people that they got bonds on to defect and leave the United States to go back home because they lose money. So they'll show you that, and then in the same turn, they'll tell our African, well, I'm saying that is the continental people that come here from Africa, you know what I mean, from different nations, they'll tell them not to mix with us because we're lazy, and we'll get them in trouble, this, that, and the third. So it's a double-edged sword, you know what I mean? But like, that's the culture. Do you know how they really, come out with fashion? They'll send people into your neighborhood, into the cities, to Philly, to New York, Miami, to see what our people is wearing, how we're dressing, the new styles and stuff like that, and that's how they create the trends.
Yeah.
Right? I've had friends that's been in like MTV meetings and things like that, right? And they'll literally ask them what's going on in the quote unquote black community. That was their update. You know what I'm saying? Like, they wasn't concerned about anything that was going on in the world unless it was going to get them ratings, but they had their token quote unquote black person to turn to. So they didn't go out there because they had, $100,000, $200,000 job. They relied on the person at the table that looked like the people they wanted to make the money off of. You know what I mean? But like, that's culture. It's the culture.
Man, this shit crazy. I put the drip on daily, like it's a special occasion. Know what I'm blazing, dang, my eyes on Asia.
Everything on air.
They can't see. I was trying to check and everything, get everybody to chime in and bust in, because we are waiting on Sean,
Okay.
the
We
comedian,
got about 10 minutes.
and then we're waiting on, I had another guest, he said he was.
Well, sorry about that today, people. Let me explain out because I didn't really get so one guest that I had supposed to call in. We had a very interesting topic lined up. Like I said, she's into fitness and things like that, and we was basically gonna get into these people out here that are claiming to be righteous, this, that, and the third, or leaders, or I don't know. I don't want to put a mantra on them or a title on them, but these people who are on social media that's supposed to be leading groups of people, and they're really being damn low and dirty in the DMs and stuff, and doing things that they should, inappropriate things. So there's going to be a G check for that, right? I got another guest I don't want to talk about, I told you about earlier.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about that one yet.
Okay.
Me and you have both reached out to Sabir Beg
Yeah.
to come on. There hasn't been any confirmation yet or anything like that. He did email me back last night. I think it was last night before I actually got on the live. And I didn't see it till this morning by the time I went to sleep. And I still haven't responded back to him. But he was like, peace, what station, what radio station? So like, that was the response. So I emailed him back, and we'll try to figure that out. If anytime he comes back home to Philly or whatever like that, hopefully he can do it. But like, that would be a very interesting build, and that would be a radio show where I'll probably just sit back, let you answer questions, so I can listen. I mean, we're gonna definitely dialogue, but like that.
Yeah, y'all have like you and him are more knowledgeable than I am.
Oh, he's knowledgeable.
Yeah,
He's
and what I love about it
he
is
has
that
a lot more.
I don't look at him
Yeah.
as boasting and bragging, because when you comment, as we put it, receipts,
Mhm.
and he comes with his books, he's like, yo, I'm, hey, these,
Oh, yeah.
see, these are the books this is what I'm reading this, see, I got this,
And like
see,
people don't.
and I got this, and I got this, and
See, I
yeah.
travel with books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Circle 7. You know what I
See,
mean?
yeah.
The Mysteries of the Solid Brotherhood of the East.
Well,
These
they-
books
well,
are.
they-
Oh, did I put them up? Put them up.
Yeah,
I didn't.
Yeah,
Okay.
they-
I didn't know who was looking. But like this book that she's holding up, which one is that one? That's Prince Uriel Bay.
Uh-huh.
This book, hold this book up, because this book right here, if you're a Moor, right, and you see this one, this is the consecrated talisman by Prince Kabir Uriel Bey, peace be unto him, great Moor, joined the ancestors at this time. But this book right here is actually a legal document. You hear what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can literally take this book, right, and into court and present it as evidence. It's filed in the Library of Congress. And this is the other one, at Mariam. But these 3 books right here by Prince Uriel Bey, you should get all 3 of these books and read them. It has the complete blood deed geodetic survey of the world in this book pertaining to the Moors, our bloodlines, going back even into the biblical and those times, even down to the Latin or Moorish Latin language, librettos, and I mean it's a wonderful addition to your library. So I just wanted to do that quick shout out for the brother that's with the ancestors right now. But this brother was very, very knowledgeable. Very, very knowledgeable. I mean, like, these 3 books is probably 1,000 pages.
And you know what's sad? Is that I
yeah.
used to be a reader.
I wish people.
I did. I used to love to read. I just had.
Any more you can get this.
But I don't do it anymore.
Circle 7.
Yeah, I don't do it anymore.
I love to read. I love the feel of books. I like to turn the pages. I
The
love.
Holy Quran, Moorish Holy
With the
Temple of
signs.
Science.
Right.
Yeah.
That was divinely prepared by Dr. Shawali.
Okay.
Divinely prepared, because there's a lot of people that said, "Oh, he played the rod with word and gospel." No, he did not. That's why I said it was divinely prepared. It didn't say he divinely authored the book. Okay, so people need to get that understanding.
Cool.
But yeah, books hold the key. I mean, Sabir, he probably traveled with 20, 30 books.
Gee, yeah.
And he buys books everywhere he goes. But books are the key to understanding. And the older the books that you get, the better the understanding that you'll have, because people wrote from the perspective of the time that they were in, not from the future. So when you go back and you get these older books, you can actually see what people were thinking and how people were called in those times, right? And that's the best thing about a book to me. Like, you can't get that, on Google.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you probably could, but like, you just can't open up Google and read something that came from 1800s, and so like, books are a great thing. Stop, I don't even say stop, but don't stop reading. Purchase them.
Yeah. Well, I can say, I can't share.
Can't share what?
I can't share.
What you supposed to say?
Well, no. Well, some
can't
of
share what?
some of
The
the
food?
some of the things. Oh, I didn't have the food. Some of the things I've been. No,
Oh.
some of the things I've been going through.
Oh.
I can't share, but I can say that.
You look happy, so I hope.
Well, I always look happy, even
That's a
when.
great topic.
Even when I was, going through, and I'm still going through it, it's kind of sad that,
Intervention, y'all.
it's kind of sad that, people have to go through, and I get it. It's growth. I get it. No one likes their heartbroken. No one likes the head bash. No one likes, to be mistreated. No one likes to lose worldly possessions or their status or their money. No one likes it. It feels good to have it.
Mm-hmm.
Shucks. I got this 1,000, 250, 200, 300, 400, $500,000 house, and then to know that, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose it. Now I got to figure out where I'm gonna stay, or I'm losing my cars, or all the money I had and family. No one wants to lose it. It hurts, you know, but I've learned I had to redirect all of the negative and push, and it hurt like hell to push through it and like, wait a minute, remember the last time you bought all them books? You remember what it was like when you had them? And I was like, yeah, I remember what, okay, well, you don't have the books now, but remember how you, okay, so I had to focus on when I didn't have, and how I got those books. It's okay, because I lost these things, but I have something to look forward to. And now I'm sitting up here like, I have something to look forward to because there was like over a period since January to now, so much.
February, I was
so much.
But I'm alright.
And I'm like,
I'm alright, but
yeah, we good, yeah, we good.
But
and
it's riding the bike. I call it riding the bike, right?
Yeah, but I had to. How do I say what I was saying? It feels good to know that in spite of, I'm so honored. I'm so, even with you, I have people in my life that help me. I never thought to turn to, it wasn't on my radar.
Right.
But they actually are like,
that's how it always
I
happens.
got you. And I'm like, when I say I got you, and I'm like,
think
wow.
about that. All the people that you probably are close to in your life are those type of people. The people that you didn't expect.
I never
most of the people in your life, most of the people, it's crazy that you said that because.
And I say you, not to cut you off, I say you because even though you haven't given me money, gave me a ride, no, bought me, you know, it's just the conversation, it's little things. It doesn't have to be a material big thing to help somebody.
Well,
you know.
Let me flip it on you. Now I'm gonna flip that experience on you because you invited me on to that Zoom.
Oh.
No, for real, because that was.
I don't want to smack you, but.
No, I'm not worried about
Okay.
that. I ain't Kevin Hart. Like when you invited me to that Zoom call with those people, that was out the blue for me. So getting that opportunity, right? Like after I got the call, or after we had spoke. At this time, I was with my ex. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna be on. Like, so I'm excited, right? And like, wow. So during that call, during that video chat that we were having, I seen the wheels in your head spinning, and I was like, "Yup, she's one." Like, 'cause everybody else, the guy that was at the newspaper, he got it. He did get it, but he works for the newspaper, so he had to hold his, he had to hold the line, right? So he understood exactly what I was saying. He's like, I agree with about 95% of what he's saying, but he had to keep that 5% for it, But I seen the wheels in your head. I said, man, she got it. She like, cause I seen you thinking, and I was like, anytime I see her on Facebook from now on,
you be
say
like,
something about, like, yo, no, you got it. I know you understand what's being said.
Like,
hold on. So like that's what led to our friendship, and then even me being to where I'm at today. So I'm thankful because, like I said, it's the people like this gave me a way to escape.
Okay.
You understand? So because a lot of things that I was going through were personal and private, were just like you were talking about, that I couldn't really speak. Coming from a male perspective, I tried to talk about my relationship issues in the beginning, and everybody was like, "No, it's too early. It's this and that, and then it got flipped on me, like because I'm a man, being able to express myself, like it's a bad thing because she's a female, and everybody takes the female side. So it was like, so what I'm supposed to do? And I want to give thanks to my pops for this because he was like, son, don't ever tell your side of the story. He was like, 'cause they always going, he said, let the person with the biggest mouth reveal their hand. Like, the person that talks the most is usually the culprit. And I was like, you're right.
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm got the biggest hand, and I'm not the culprit.
No, he was saying the person.
But I get what you're saying. But
in my situation, I'm not gonna say in
yeah.
all situation. In my situation, he was like the person, you know, that's got the most to say is usually the culprit in the situation. He's
Right.
like, don't take the story, right? So when I was able to do this, right, on top of the other things that I was doing, it was filling my life back up with things that was meaningful,
Right.
right? And so like for me to come to Philly from Delaware, get on the shit, like that's a nice little 2-hour commute, right? I get to think about things that I wouldn't. First of all, I gotta concentrate on track. Like I gotta be driving. Travel. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I gotta travel.
Yeah.
To come here, you know, I have to think. I'm processing. I'm thinking about the show. I'm thinking about MorrisMac.org. I'm thinking about, you know, my social media, how I'm going to engage people to get this message.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about guests. I'm thinking about, you know, the things I want to put on these T-shirts. Matter of fact, the T-shirts is coming. They're really coming. I'm thinking about all these things.
I know.
But before that, you know, while I was trying to like get back to being okay, like I had to find things that would take my mind off of the things that I was really going through, right? And as time has progressed, even with this, you know what I mean, I find myself less focused on the things that was plaguing me in the past. But like that's how it happened. So you being one of those people that I never expected to be like, hey, why don't you try come on co-host with me? And then like come back next week, and then like, yo, just be the co-host. And I'm like, okay, whoa, but person I least expect. That's not to say I've had friends that I went to school with that's been on Power 99 or was down on, you know, the radio, you know, down look, I can't remember anything, what's the 104 and all this other stuff, right? Never got the opportunity, you know what I'm saying? So like it's always been the people I least expected that's gave me the, you know, the hand to pull me up to the next level versus the people that's always been around, you know? Like I don't know why it works like that, but it seems like the people that you least expect are the ones that usually get you to the next level.
I'm not naming names because I didn't ask, you know, beforehand, and I don't want to put them on the spot, you know. Then somebody, you know, well, what happened? Because she announced you, but to all those that went out from January, from January to. From January.
You gotta say,
from January.
You gonna let something go?
Let me say thank you so much, because I literally had to share my story with somebody. And when I shared my story, she had, one of the first things she said was that I am blessed because she knows a lot of people that does not have support. And I'm sitting up here, okay.
That's what
I didn't say anything, but as she's talking, I'm going over the checklist of everybody I had to, and I use the word had, to connect with versus wanted to, and it's like, wow, you absolutely right. Yo, okay, let me say thank you.
Sean said 5 minutes, so he should be up.
Okay.
And that was 5 minutes ago.
All right.
No, it'll be up to
Okay. So I just wanted to say thank you, because you know, when I do my Facebook lives and if I post stuff and I tell y'all I'm really going through some stuff, I get when people say now everybody needs to know, but at some point, even some of these celebrities had told and shared their story, and I just happened to meet up with a young lady from Facebook who's going through the same thing I was going through, and it's like, wow, like she's really going through it. And it's like, wow, now I'm going through it, but at least I can call somebody and say, hey, you know, I need, like, I'm, like, well, and it was like, I got you. And it's like, wow.
Right.
But even in the midst of it, you know, I got to look at where it stemmed from, and it's sad to see where it stemmed from has not changed. I say this because, you know, some people, not all, some people, you go to jail and it's like, ooh, this ain't for me. I ain't going back. Whereas though some people, for whatever reason, you call it luck, maybe it's bad choices, you know, maybe it is God, you know, I don't know, maybe he said, you know what, I just got a feeling you get ready to do this again, let me send you back again, because I don't think you're ready. I don't know, but some people say, I can't, and they're done. Whereas though, you know, you would look at somebody else and be like, and where it stemmed from,
Whew,
where
you
I'm,
just said something very
where I'm
powerful.
at is like, for me, I grew.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you when I get off the air.
No, but I
But
want you to
go ahead.
recognize something that you're saying that you don't even realize that you're doing it. And it's the craziest part, right? You said some people can go to jail and be like, I'm done, that's not for me, right?
Yeah.
And then other people, it might be God, it's like, he ready to do something, let me send it back to them and remind them, or, you know, it's like, we don't give ourselves enough credit for doing the things that we do, or we don't give ourselves the credit for doing the things we supposed to do.
Right.
You know, I grew up in
No,
church
I'm
family.
gonna let you finish. I'm not saying they didn't, when they got out, didn't decide. I'm just saying, I've seen people.
Yeah, but see, this ties back to
Go
our
ahead.
colonized mindset, because they beat Jesus and all that stuff into, like, Christianity, to be honest, left here and went over there because everything started over. The whole out of Africa thing is flip flop. That's a different story. But Christianity went over there to Ethiopia, went up into Europe, came back down, and came back over here. But the people at the time that, when, you know, these so-called Spanish came back over here in the 15th century, those people weren't Christians over here. There's actually a book that's called, it's titled, look it up, it's an orange cover, it says, How to Make a Negro Christian. It's published. You understand what I'm saying? So the fact that our people attribute all their good works and good deeds and good things to God, Jesus did all that, and then the bad stuff to the devil, and they never give it to themselves,
Yeah.
that's taking,
Yeah.
that's oppression, right? And it's done by another culture. You know what I mean? But now we're oppressing ourselves. And I'm not saying that that's what you was doing in your conversation, but on one hand, we were saying, okay, they figured it out. You know, on the other hand, it was like, well, maybe God doing this for them, or God intervening, so, you know what I mean? Instead of that person actually making that actual
Yeah, we do have,
decisions.
reason why I say that, because there are people who have, I spoke to a guy.
Mhm.
He literally, he admitted, bank robbery. Now I know it was the bank robbery. I think it was auto theft. It was 3 things. So rather than making up stuff, it was like 3 things. So what happened was he was found guilty. He was out on bail.
Mhm.
They gave him 20 years for stealing.
Wait a minute, he was out on bail.
Well, you know, when they tell you you're charged with all that stuff, they release you, and then he goes back to court and stuff.
Right.
So
They gave him 20 years when
They-
he went back.
they gave him 20 years for stealing.
The state.
The state gave him 20 years.
Wait
Wait
a
a
minute. Case too.
Wait a minute. So then what happened was, while he was out, I forgot exactly how it went, but anyway, 2017 he's out. Now the same police officer, the same district
Mhm.
that sentenced him.
This is after he comes home from doing
No,
something.
this is
Why he's on bail.
Well, while he's out,
Okay.
after he did his 20 years, but
Okay.
during that time he was getting ready, come out. The same people, judge, lawyers, and all,
Okay.
went back. This time they took his case
Uh-huh.
to federal and said, "Oh, we want to charge him on federal." After he didn't serve 20 years, so now he got in 2017, gets out and goes right back in on federal for the same. He's like, "Wait a minute, isn't that double jeopardy?" So now he's fighting to get released because it's like, "Wait, I just served 20 years. Y'all give me another 20 years?"
Oh.
Well, you're not supposed to do that.
Unless they found new evidence.
No, that's what he said they did.
They found new evidence.
No, they said that he got hemmed up with the same charge. The same. That's why I said, sometimes it may not be.
You're gonna have to send me the link to that. Text me that stuff right there. I want to read that case because like that is preposterous. But this is the problem, and this is what people don't see, right?
Mhm.
They're used. Listen, that's kidnapping. That's a whole list of violations that we can actually talk about.
Mhm.
But like, that is injuring. Okay.
One crime, 2 sentences, state and federal, for the same exact crime.
Send me that on the messenger or something like
Okay.
that, link to his page or something like that, because I want to read what's going on.
Okay.
Because like that's crazy. First of all, people gotta understand, like if these people who operate, run the system, whatever you want to call them, right? And I'm not saying just quote unquote out beyond Europeans, aka white people, right? Because you got some
I
right?
want him.
Huh?
I want him.
Whoa, that's what.
I like that.
Yeah, you said it twice. The way you said it, I was like, why you telling me? Oh, that's his ego.
No, why you telling me?
Yeah, but no. I would like
I
to
want you
interview.
too.
No. You go. I was the whole train of thought. All right, so
Kwame.
yeah, so
Right.
no, definitely not. I don't know what you're saying.
Kwame Brown.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Okay.
I would like to interview.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, I want him.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
yeah.
As long as we say
Not,
that.
no.
Okay, like you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, not, yeah.
But you gotta understand, like, if these people are running the system right, and they're not from here, they're oppressing your people. So somebody that did 20 years in jail, you know what I mean, for a crime that they admitted to, they got found guilty for, and then the same people come back and try to put you into a whole different jurisdiction for the same crime or the same charge. Like, that is crazy. That is oppression. I hear the door crack.
Yes, I guess. All right, well, we're going to wrap this one up.
Okay, we're gonna wrap.
Yeah, and then we're going to close out because I think we got Charles here.
I don't know. Oh,
Yeah. So we got Charles here, and then we're going to,
Alright, so
we'll be back.
we'll be back in what,
Yeah.
5?
In about a couple of minutes.
Alright.
It's not no.
All right.
It's on.
All right.